here's the... Oh my god, I'm so not used to this. Finally. We're back to it. Okay. I'm outfit repeating today. I'm wearing shorts and tights, so chill the fuck out. Really cute skirt. I was going fucking insane because I already had 1 cup of coffee, like right when I woke up, and then I was like, okay, getting ready for stream, I would like a little bit more caffeine. And I have this, it's called an AeroPress. It's like you put the coffee grounds in, pour hot water over it, and then like push it down. I couldn't find this one piece of it that's supposed to hold the filter and the grounds. Holy shit, why the fuck are my frames so bad? It's saying dropped frames, like, through OBS, like really? Okay, never mind, I guess. Stream settings, analytics. Stream is healthy. Okay. We'll see. But I couldn't fucking find this one piece, and I went insane for like 20 minutes looking for it. I looked in the trash even in case I accidentally like threw it away along with the grounds. I don't know what the fuck I did with it, so I've got green tea. That's something, at least. Also, something very exciting. Got my Oni Plays plushes with the Talking Zach and Chris.
Thank you.
I was hoping it would be that one too. I don't want to take it out of the plastic yet. I don't know why, but it's technically a gift for my boyfriend. So yeah, I'm not gonna put it up in here yet. We'll see. But yeah. Okay, let's get Higurashi up. Silent Hill F, it is a few days away. All right. Continue. Load. Switch over. Thinking, am I forgetting anything? No. Alright. What? most recent tips. Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking we're gonna learn more about Oreo, the matriarch of the Sonozaki family. So, and I'm thinking we know that, so Oishi told Keiichi that Mion is someone he needs to worry about, and that, or who was it that said that technically Mion would be next in line for the curse, or that was what I thought, was that she might be next in line for the curse. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, because the mayor and Rika have vanished. So naturally, it would make sense that Mion, who is acting as the head of the Sonozaki family, would go next, or Oreo. But probably Mion, because she is the leader. So I'm thinking it would be in Mion's interest to, with the curse being so unorthodox this year, I'm thinking she would want to take it into her own hands to, like, make it so that someone else, unless she's been in control of the disappearances in the first place, in that case, that's what's happening. I saw a ceiling I was familiar with. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon, like I was every morning. I looked at the clock, and despite having turned in so late last night, I had awoken at precisely the same moment I always did. I'm so low on sleep, but I guess you really can get up at the same time every day. God, I wish that were me. The secrets of the human body never cease to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on and slipped out of my futon. But then again, it does kind of suck to wake up at that time, even if you stayed up, so... But... as someone who's trying to develop a better routine, it's tough. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently we two had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Sadako were. And Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening. So then, you were out late last night with all your friends looking for them? Until about 3, I think. Yeah. Did you find them? Rika-chan and Sadako-chan, I mean? Crunch. I warily bit into my toast. It really didn't have any taste. Just then we heard the chime go ding-dong. I looked up at the clock and saw that it was about 5 minutes past my regular meeting time with Reina. It was her at the door. Good morning. Did you get any sleep? Did you? I think I slept for a few hours. You could probably count them on a chicken's toes, though. Reina seemed pretty sleep-deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit. Are you going to school? Yeah, I think it would be better that way, she said, smiling, albeit stiffly. Reina was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school. If you stay home today, I think you'd just be worrying nonstop and sleeping. I don't want that. So, let's go to school together. Alright, wait just a moment. I'll get ready. Don't go to school, Keiichi. Don't go to school tomorrow. I was just a little happy about Reina mustering that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we'd usually meet up with Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us. I guess Mi-chan couldn't wake up today, huh? That's right. For her, it wasn't just yesterday. She was up all night looking for the mayor the night before last, too. We waited for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged glances. What do we do? Wait a little longer? At that point, my brain, which had finally been woken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Oishi-san had left me with last night. The leaders of the 3 families were disappearing, one after the other, And next, it might be the Sonozaki's leader. Could Mion have... No, that couldn't be. Let's go. Let's let her sleep for today. Reina gave me a pat on the back. Mion, she's still here, right? Did you say something? Oh, nothing. Just talking to myself. Let's get moving. What the fuck, Keiichi? The two of us headed to school by ourselves. On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. It even looked like some of them were being taken to school by car. Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I'd never seen that before. Good morning. Good morning. The principal was bowing to our classmates' guardians. The wooden sword leaning next to him was a little ominous. Maibara-kun, good morning. Ryugu-kun, good morning. Good morning. Your teacher has something important to say, so head straight to the classroom. All right? Reina and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like. Good morning, everyone. The hushed conversations that had been spreading for a while now all disappeared like an illusion the moment our teacher walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came in with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning. First, the principal has something important to tell everyone. Go ahead, Mr. Principal. The principal cleared his throat and approached the dais. That's what it's called? I'm sure some of you already know this. The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Sadako's empty seats. I noticed he doesn't call her Sadako-chan because he doesn't like her. The principal briefly and simply declared that Rika-chan and Sadako had gone missing. There wasn't a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept it as the truth. It had been confirmed to them now by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either. Okay, everyone, pay attention. From today on, your parents or guardians will be taking you to school. For those of you whose parents can't do so, you'll be coming here in groups. I made a handout, so read it carefully and be sure to show it to your parents. Understand? The teacher's voice was a little abrasive. Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from this unprecedented, abnormal situation. They should have just canceled school today. However, Reina told me that the school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents both worked, so some of them wouldn't want school to be canceled. Well then, let's begin the lesson. Class president? She's absent, I see. Then whoever is on day duty, let me hear it. All rise. That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in school, precisely because our lives had been messed up, was something that I agreed with at this point. Yeah. It's hard because, like, you want to be distracted from things that are going on, but it's also hard to ignore it at the same time. As for the teacher, who always had her lunch in the staff lounge, she ate in the classroom today. I had to laugh at her curry bento, which was just a rumor until now, but there was nobody to laugh with me. Reina brought her chair and lunch over to my seat. Today, it was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag any other desks over was sad. I'm sleepy. Yeah, I don't feel like sleeping anymore, though. In fact, I'm jealous of the people that could sleep at a time like this. They've got nerves of steel. You're right. I was sleepy this morning, but my drowsiness had dissipated after coming to school and constantly feeling the incredible tension. Reina's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Reina was up for a long time last night, too. She wouldn't have had time to make her lunch beforehand, since it's not like she would have gotten up early this morning. Grab anything you want. Go ahead. You can admit that my bento is better today. Okay, then I'll have some. Wow, a Chikuwa roll in perilla and cheese? That's interesting. Reina, yours might have ready-made food in it, but it's pretty good too. I realized the two of us were desperately trying to brighten the afternoon mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom, and it seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess. Just the two of us sharing our lunches like this, it's sort of like something. Our laughter grew quieter. It's so awkward. I was the first one to mess it up. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's not your fault. Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore. Rika-chan, Sadako, I wonder where they went. Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to address the topic. But I came right out and said it. I heard Reina catch her breath. Yesterday, while you were gone, I heard a bunch of things, so I'll tell you when I know, okay? While you were gone? What does she mean? Oh, when he walked away. Sorry again about last night. Go ahead. Is it going to be about the rumors of who was in the storehouse? At that time, since they had arrived for support, Reina was helping the Ladies' Society cook the miso soup we'd had. They reported all the information the villagers had gathered, and Reina said she'd overheard it. They didn't know anything important, though. Did they? Rika-chan and Sadako went home after school, and then apparently went somewhere on their bikes, but other than that... Mian had told me yesterday. He had no clues. Yeah. The police also said they probably went out on their bikes to go play somewhere as soon as they got home. If they were going out to play somewhere on their bikes right after getting home, then they might have gone into town. So I guess they concluded they disappeared while in Okonomiya. The police were saying how they were going to expand their search to Okonomiya in the morning. Okinomiya? I think I'm saying that wrong. Okinomiya. In town. It makes sense why we couldn't find them even though we'd searched all of Hinamizawa then. Still, something didn't fit. I had no basis for thinking that, just a gut feeling. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was likely very important to her that day. Then, Rika-chan had told me to leave it to her. And then, what did she say? Oh, right. If she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog too, I think. With all the talk of dogs and cats, I still didn't have the faintest idea what she really meant, but it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying this was a race against time. I thought she was trying to say she was going to stop the dog. Like, I thought she was saying something bad might happen to the cat, as in Keiichi. So maybe I need to re-look at that part? Why would she want to protect the dog? Damn it. I'd selfishly pushed my anxiety on Rika-chan and tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run back then. I should have asked her more about the dogs and cats. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she would just go off to play somewhere. Of course, I didn't have any evidence or conviction to base that on. It was just a hunch. I don't think she'd go into town. You think so too, Keiichi-kun? I agree. Rika-chan and Sadako-chan must have disappeared in Hinamizawa. I looked back at Reina, startled. I could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went into the hallway. I'm going to go rinse this out. She timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly I got the feeling that the next things she had to say would be hard to say out loud in the classroom. Oh my god. Okay. What is she gonna reveal? I hurriedly grabbed my bento box and followed her. Reina didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather the water fountains out back where students seldom went, which was where Mion was talking to Keiichi and revealed, like, she knew something that he did. The water flowed down onto our bento boxes. During that time, Reina didn't say a word. Then, after making sure there were no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak. The whole thing about Rika-chan and Sadako-chan going to town to play and then disappearing? That didn't make any sense for some reason. So I decided to investigate a little bit myself. Queen, the door is open. You have your spring? You got your spring? Yeah. You just wanted pets, that's all? I gotta go over here. Gotta move out of the way. Okay. Who did you ask? What did you ask them about? I asked the Ladies' Society all kinds of things. There was a lot of tofu in the miso soup yesterday, remember? The old lady from the Tomita tofu shop came too. The Tomita tofu shop. Oh, I remember. That was one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. Those huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub-like cistern always looked nice and refreshing. I made tofu last night. I fried some of it and it was really good. The old lady says she remembers Sadako-chan stopping to buy tofu there on her way home from school. Tofu? Well, it's on the way home, right? How is that a clue? Just listen. Do you remember when we went to Rika-chan's house? Reina stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika-chan's room. There was a pot on her gas cooker, and there was miso soup in it. I think there was probably about half of it inside. The rest was in the refrigerator. They must have been planning to make chilled tofu. It was on a plate in a plastic wrap. As Reina explained, she walked around as if she were really going through Rika-chan's room. Still, Reina, why does this matter? Keiichi-kun, when you make miso soup, you put the tofu in last. That means Rika-chan or Sadako-chan, whoever was cooking, was standing there making it up until right before dinner time. Right up until dinner time. Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves? The trash in the countertop bin was put in there really awkwardly, too. Rika-chan makes most of their food and lunches, but occasionally Sadako-chan does it too. So Sadako-chan was cooking that night. Because it was put there awkwardly? So that means that Sadako, at least, didn't go somewhere to play. She was preparing dinner? Yeah. Then I took a look at the rice cooker, and there was rice for two still in there. So she made dinner for both of them, but neither of them ate it. Is that it? Or that's Keiichi saying that. Reina nodded. So next I looked in the fridge. There was some chilled tofu, made from the other half they bought. That's not all either. There were a whole bunch of plates with side dishes for dinner, and all of them were in plastic wrap. You usually plastic wrap things so that you can have leftovers for the next day. My mom does it all the time, too, using them in breakfast or lunch. That's right. You use plastic wrap to save leftovers for later. So the fact that they were in the fridge means they didn't plan on eating them that night, at least. Is that what that means? Keiichi-kun, think a little harder. Their dinner was totally untouched and wrapped up. What do you think that means? Well, that means they didn't need to eat dinner anymore, so they would have gone out to eat or ordered takeout. It must have been really sudden, too. If they had decided to do that beforehand, they wouldn't have made anything, but there was dinner for the two of them. That means that when Sadako-chan was making their dinner, they really thought they were going to eat it until right before they didn't. So then the theory about the two of them going out to play and then disappearing is wrong. Yep. They disappeared after making dinner and right before they ate it. Probably around 7 o'clock. Where would they have gone at a time like that by themselves without eating? That's obviously where this is leading. Keiichi-kun, do you remember? On their fold-out table there were things like soy sauce and a chopstick holder. There might have been something like that. I didn't remember. The container for the soy sauce. It was empty. There wasn't even a drop left. Chilled tofu wouldn't taste good without it. So I looked under their sink for the larger bottle of soy sauce they have. You sure know a lot about where they keep stuff. I've been to Rika-chan's house and cooked for them before. Reina cleared her throat, her face returning to a serious expression. Then when I opened the cabinet, the big bottle of soy sauce wasn't there at all. It wasn't there. Well, what does that mean? Everything I'm going to say from here on is just Reina's idea. So please listen until the end without saying anything. Last night, Sadako was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan usually watched TV until the food was ready, so she was probably lying down watching a variety show or something. Sadako put the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be ready, she noticed that they were out of soy sauce. So, Rika-chan, who had nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to a neighbor's house to borrow theirs. I don't really know my neighbors that well. Would people be willing to just give her soy sauce? Yeah, it's not all that uncommon in Hinamizawa. So Rika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Sadako-chan waited though, Rika-chan didn't come back. Queen's meowing with the spring in her mouth. Did you bring it to me? Yeah. Good job. Got a shirt right here for you to lay on. The floor's probably cold right now. I should bring their bed up here. So then Sadako-chan called up the house where Rika-chan was going. Would Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that. Then the other person must have replied with something like this. We have plenty of food here, so you should come too, Sadako-chan. Rika-chan has already eaten. I think that's how they called her out there. Okay. Sadako called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner she had made for them. She put it in the fridge so she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. Then Sadako got on her bike too, and headed for the house where Rika-chan was. Okay, but this is already pretty strange. You don't normally make so much food that you can give it out to people who suddenly arrived at your house. A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she could feed 2 extra people. Could it have just been a coincidence that they made too much? It's still unthinkable. Reina flatly denied me. Since Rika-chan knew that Sadako-chan had worked really hard to make dinner for them, didn't she? No matter what kind of food she was offered, she wouldn't let Sadako-chan's dinner go to waste. This is all only circumstantial evidence and Reina's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple this situation bereft of clues. Then Reina, where did Rika-chan go to get soy sauce? That was the heart of it. It would have to be somewhere she'd be comfortable with asking for soy sauce, and somewhere Sadako wouldn't think it suspicious that she'd been invited for dinner. So who was it? Reina slowly shook her head. That's all for Reina's guesses. These are all just ideas, okay? Keep it a secret from the police. What is there to hide? Even if only half of what you say is right, it should be a good clue for all this. Keiichikun, this all means suspecting someone from Hinamizawa. We can't suspect anyone without a really good reason. I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Reina cut the conversation short and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Let's think about this in my own way. Reina had barely any information to go on, and yet she'd reason out that much. So there should be something that only I, who knew far more than Reina did, could deduce. Oishi-san said this last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Reina might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. Reina's too scared to, rat on someone. She doesn't want, the rumor... She doesn't want the accusation to come back on her. The trigger for everything was when the four of us trespassed in the forbidden storehouse. Somebody saw us going in there. For the culprits, breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Tomitake-san and Takano-san were sacrificed. There were two left, Shion and myself. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. Next, they went for Rika-chan, to whom I had confessed my sin. And what about Sadako? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I'd told her everything was mortifying. But Sadako, who was sacrificed for no reason, wasn't that all the more regrettable? Everything was my fault. Who would be the next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next time? Why weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away, though? If they had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? If they went for us, well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was them getting rid of those who we'd confessed to. Now that I think of it, yesterday Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, was someone watching me as well? Strangely though, I hadn't felt anything like that until now. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I had never once had that impression. Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me, and I was just careless. That's another story though. Let's get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt like that's where the key to this lay. Could it be... Was I making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with an answer. The one thing I understood was that I was a concerned party to this cause, or to this case, and that I had a duty to watch over it until everything got resolved. Mion said that Sadako was cursed, but why is she cursed though? I forget if there was a reason that we know of now why Sadako's parents died the way they did. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break. Did somebody else disappear tonight? If nobody else did, then I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure. And then put an end to all of this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to mind. They planned to murder those close to us first, making us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us. Maebara-kun, lunch break is over. Go back to the classroom. At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school. It was just like a kindergarten. Students whose parents didn't come went home as a group. We left school with everyone else, following the assigned route? Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers, silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left, and then another, and in the end it was just Reina and me. I was supposed to escort Reina all the way to her house, but she declined. Will you be alright? It's not safe to go alone. Sounds like the Zelda reference. It would be just as dangerous for you to go home by yourself after bringing me back, Kate-kun. It's still light out anyway. I'll be fine. I see. Then be careful, okay? Yeah. Huh? Isn't that a policeman? Reina pointed towards my house. There was a car stopped in front of it. Oh, fuck. From out of that car came Oishi-san. He must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Oishi-san started walking over wearing that annoying grin. Reina, you should go. If you get involved with him, you'll be here for hours. But what did the police want with you? Reina's a good person. Even when I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even though she still hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth. I think it's very interesting that he's bringing up the idea of, like, him being suspicious, because he's the one who brought up, something happened to Rika-chan, we need to go get her. So it's making me think, could someone have been warning Keiichi, and they're trying to lead him to something? Like, don't forget that when Shion's been calling over the phone, this whole chapter, for like a good portion of it, we were like, is Shion the same as Mion? So, were we talking to Shion over the phone? Or were we talking to Mion? Even so, she still hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth. I'm not the culprit. I know that. That said, I can't say that I'm totally uninvolved with this incident. Reina simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty. I'll tell you next time. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Get going then. Reina gave me a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Oishi-san, who walked over. Hello. Welcome home, Maibara-san. Hello. It looks like your parents aren't here. My, was I in a bit of a spot? You came all the way to my house? I could only thank my good fortune that my parents were absent. Since neither of them was around at this hour, they probably would be back late. I think Dad got called out on business. I don't think he'll be back until later. I see. Well, that's convenient, I suppose. We can do this without giving your parents any strange ideas. Oishi-san pushed my back, prompting me to walk. It seemed like he wanted me to get in the car. The implications are weird. Are you taking me to the police station? I wasn't the culprit, but I was the cause of everything. It wouldn't be weird if you wanted to investigate me. That kind of gave me a resigned feeling. No. I just don't want to stand around talking. We can just talk in the car, that's all. Come on, come now, don't be shy. He opened the back door and urged me inside. If I got in, I wouldn't have a very easy time getting out. If I said no, however, then this man might really handcuff me and take me away. I couldn't refuse. I could only accept in good grace. The inside of the car had been cooled too much by the air conditioning, and there was a rusty smell coming from the filter, which must have been cleaned only rarely. Oh, is it too cold? I'll turn the car off. He turned off the engine, and it suddenly became quiet, and the voices of the Higurashi, with all their cool loneliness, snuck inside. Qua, 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 qua. It sounded to me like a chorus of voices, lamenting my exorbitant punishment for having harbored such foolish curiosity. For a few moments, while listening to those voices, I myself lamented the days that had been twisted and distorted since that night. Oishi-san, as if waiting for me to voluntarily begin talking, lit a cigarette and listened to the Higurashi. The silence became deafening, and I was the one who folded first. How is the investigation going? The investigation? Of what? There's been so many. Which do you mean? All of them. Well, alright then. They're officially secret investigations, and we're under a media blackout, but I'll let you in on them. Then, shall we start from the first incident? The freak deaths of Tomitake-san and Takano-san on the night of Waranagashi. On this one, embarrassingly enough, we haven't made any progress at all. First of all, Tomitake-san. There are indications on his body that he was assaulted by a group of people, but we have no explanation for him clawing out his own throat and dying. We suspect an overdose from a stimulant or something, but we didn't detect anything. What about Takano-san? The same. We're in the dark. Autopsies for those who are burned to death are real tough. We believe she was doused in gasoline after she was strangled. That one falls under the Gifu Prefecture's police department. They haven't been very cooperative, even though it happened in our territory. That's not really relevant, though. So the police didn't know anything other than the fact that the victims died inexplicably. Nonetheless, the times when the incidents occurred have been generally placed right after the festival ended. It's a bit uncertain in Takano-san's case, but the likely prospect is that she was murdered at about the same time as Tomitake-san, then dumped in the mountains in Gifu. Why would they bring a dead body all the way to the mountains? They should have just brought Tomitake-san out there too. Oh, yeah. Oh my bar-san, you're quite sharp, you know that? Of course I do believe that is something we need to be attentive of. There are a bunch of other suspicious things, but this is about all I can tell you at this point. How about the mayor? Have there been any clues? Having exhausted that topic, I changed the subject. Otherwise, he might have turned the conversation on me. We investigated his movements on the day he disappeared. We didn't find anything that could provide any clues, but I'll tell you about it anyway. The mayor, Kichiro Kimiyoshi, apparently he was suffering from severe hemorrhoids. People who've lived a long time have an unusual amount of pride, so the mayor hadn't been telling anyone that he was going to a proctologist at a certain university hospital in Shishibone. On the day he disappeared, he had an appointment for a checkup, so he went out first thing in the morning. Even I knew that big hospitals like university hospitals had a really long waiting time. Apparently people would get in line hours beforehand, even if they had an appointment. His exam ended at 1 p.m. After that, he ate a light meal in the hospital restaurant and passed the time reading a magazine. We know this because of a receipt we found in his wallet at his house. There was nothing suspicious at all about that. That day, he had planned to go to a meeting in the assembly hall in the evening. He was supposed to return home with plenty of time to spare, but while he was on the train coming back, there was an accident. It seems it delayed him a bit, and he only got back to his house right before the meeting was scheduled to start. His family witnessed a very hectic mayor leaving to go to the assembly hall at the shrine. What was the meeting about? He disappeared on his way back home, right? The three families and the essential members of the town assembly were at the meeting. We think they were discussing how to deal with the serial freak deaths that had happened again this year. So then, on his way home, the old man who had treated Shion like his own daughter, he was a dependable person who would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet, Shion's painful voice struck me right in the heart. Huh? What's the matter? I was taken aback by how strange my own voice sounded. What was it that just surprised me? I squeezed my head with my hands to try and drag back out what I had only realized for a split second. Remember, Keiichi Maibara, you just realized something. Something important. The night of Waranagashi. What the fuck is going on? That was when everything started. That night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, we went there without telling his family. Okay. You got a checkup at the hospital. Ate something. And then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, and hurried to the assembly hall at the shrine as fast as he could. From when he heard about the incident on the night of Wananagashi until he showed up at the assembly hall, everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, nobody found out that he went to the hospital alone, ate alone, and he got on the train alone. That all meant he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. You couldn't even have called him on the phone. Okay, but what does that mean, Keiichi Maebara? Why does that matter, Keiichi Maebara? Kei-chan, what should I do? What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. I told old man Kimiyoshi everything. That night I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also that someone saw us and was out to get us. Right? What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled, then told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him. Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became one long strand and slid down from my forehead to my nose, and fell. So then, what does it mean? Hey, Keiichi Maebara, no more playing dumb. When did she tell him? Shion said she learned of the incident from the phone call her father made that morning. The mayor had left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anybody where he was going. Nobody knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride back to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed out to the assembly hall. Then the meeting at the assembly hall began and continued until it was dark out. Then everyone left. Nobody saw him after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Okay. Which meant, Maebara-san? Are you alright? If you're too hot, I can turn the air conditioner, Another part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I not think any further than that. My head was pounding violently, and the fluids packed inside it all blended together until nothing made sense. It was just about to settle, yet it had been smashed and melted in the blink of an eye. No longer able to retain its shape. What the fuck? Okay. Whenever he talks about, like, his head spinning and, like, feeling like something's getting squeezed out of his head, it's so weird. Like, he's mentioned this multiple times now. Maebara-san, are you in there? Yeah. Oishi-san lit yet another cigarette. There was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? Had my thoughts been frozen over for that long? I tried to tell you everything I know. In return, feel free to tell me anything you want, Maebara-san. My mind had become a gigantic oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender, and I couldn't think. Now, don't clam up again. If there are any misunderstandings, I'd like to clear them up first. I don't think you're the culprit here or anything. Oishi-san gave his best attempt at an adult smile. I know the four of you snuck into the ritual storehouse that night. Everyone in the village heard rumors about it by the next day. That in itself means we should take you in for trespassing, but that isn't the problem. It's what was inside. What was inside that made the people who snuck in there end up as sacrifices? There wasn't anything. As soon as I said it, I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter anymore. Was there really nothing in there? I mean, everyone who went in is being sacrificed one by one, you know. Even the mayor and Rika-san, who switched the lock on the door, were sacrificed. What was inside that could have caused such terrible things to happen? I was far too tired of keeping quiet about this. Perhaps that was Oishi-san's goal all along. But again, that didn't matter anymore. There were just a lot of torture devices that were used a long time ago. I looked around at them with everyone. Was that really all? That was really all. There was nothing terrible in there that would make you keep silent, like a pile of psychoactive drugs, maybe a secret poppy workshop. Perhaps there were mountains of Soviet or Chinese handguns. There weren't any suspicious wooden boxes or containers packed in there. There was nothing, as exaggerated as what Oishi-san was hoping for, but I felt like in a way there were plenty of terrible things hidden in there. From the perspective of someone who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not I thought I had seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. Four of us broke the taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened. We put in a request for a search warrant thinking that there might have been some secrets hidden in that storehouse. It's been the sabotage of the century. They said it would be an insult to religious figures and something about the right to free religion in the Constitution. Geez. That's why I really didn't have any other recourse but to ask you, since you went in there. There really was just old, rusty, dusty torture equipment. Nothing else stood out. Then Tomitake-san and Takano-san were only killed as a punishment for having broken the taboo? I didn't have an answer for the only part. I suppose I won't bother hiding it anymore. You're the only one to escape harm so far. Everyone but you has disappeared, and yet you alone are safe. What's the difference between you and them that would protect you but bring harm to the others? Reminds me of, what's the difference between me and you? I can't not think of that. That's what I want to know. There was something wrong with what Oishi-san was saying. You alone. You alone. What? Wait a second. What do you mean by you alone? I'm saying that you alone have been left alive, right? Out of the 4 people who tiptoed in the storehouse for ritual implements, I mean. The only one left alive. Hold on. Shion was still... Jiro Tomitake-san and Mio Takano-san died that night, and Shion Sonozaki disappeared the next day. Only you are still safe and sound at this point. Why only you? I'm saying that's what I want to know. Shion disappeared? That's impossible. I unintentionally raised my voice, but I didn't care about that. Tomitake-san died, Takano-san died, and Shion disappeared? When did she disappear? What is this guy talking about? Oh, well now, I thought you were long since aware of this. This is the first I've heard of it. Shion disappeared? When? Well, going back a bit, she disappeared the day after Waranagashi. Going back a bit? Stop saying stuff I don't understand. Shion Sonozaki spends the night at relatives' house, depending on her mood on any given day, so no one thought much of not knowing where she was. She frequently takes days off from school, too. Her teacher has been pretty troubled by it. I didn't ask about any of that. I'm asking you when Shion disappeared. I told you it was the day after Waranagashi. The fluids in my body all reversed direction. I lost my sense of balance, and everything I could see started to warp and twist out of shape. I simply couldn't endure it. Hang on. Shion had already disappeared? Then, that night, that phone call, who was that? By the way, I didn't come to my own conclusion on that one. That was, I was rereading, like, a plot summary of what had happened up until this point, and then someone pointed out, like, was it Neon? So, I'm not taking credit for coming to that conclusion. She called me every night. She encouraged me. We vowed that we would do our best to live on and not be erased. Yes, that should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion. She took breaks from class like it was nothing, and her family wouldn't listen when I told them, so I didn't bother calling the school in the end. So it ended up taking quite a while before we realized she disappeared. I felt a stabbing pain like needles were being pushed into every pore of my body. It started on my back and began spreading throughout the rest of me. When it had completely covered the surface of my skin, it began to worm its way in my stomach as well. Don't you remember? We talked at the library the day after Wananagashi. Shion-san was there then. That was the last we saw of her. No one knows where she's been since. That can't be. That day, Oishi-san had only caught me, and Shion bounded away lying that she needed to go to work. She didn't call me that night? Or didn't she call me that night? Her job was at a restaurant called Angelmore, right? She hasn't been there since that day. She's been completely absent ever since. The person at the restaurant couldn't get in touch with her. He was really worried. That can't be. It can't be. It's only circumstantial evidence, but after she left us at the library, but before she made it to work, I think it's appropriate to consider her having disappeared at that time. Right after Shion ran away without me? It seems that you didn't know. Maybe if you had said something earlier, this would have gone more quickly. Now you understand, right? You're the only one left. You're the only survivor of the 4 who slipped into the ritual storehouse. It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. If something else happens, it would happen to you. I need you to understand that, Maebara-san. Can't be. It can't be. It can't be. Shion had already disappeared? That couldn't be. It couldn't be. Oh my god, Keiichi, fucking snap out of it. I talked to her the day before yesterday. I talked to her last night. She was going to call me again today. That was Shion on the phone. Shion on the phone. It's from Shion. Shion. Shion has long since disappeared. Next will be you. Then who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? It can't be. You got tricked again, Keiichi, but by Neon this time, not Shion. I lay on the couch and stayed there dazed for a while. My mind was completely blank. I couldn't think about anything for more than a few seconds. I guess Queen took her spring with her. There was a note in my house saying that Mom and Dad would be home late and I should have some ramen or something for dinner. Pork bone ramen. I could make it whenever I got hungry, but I had no appetite. So I just stared blankly at the ceiling without eating anything. This is like last chapter where you're fucking home alone and you should be locking up the fucking house like it's a goddamn fucking fort. Holy shit, Keiichi. Oh my god. I'm still like sick sounding. The hands of the clock were barely pointing at 10. Were already pointing at 10. Would I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared. Would she still call me? Did he even tell Oishi, like, I kept getting phone calls from Shion, but she already disappeared. Why? My god, dude. Yeah? Yeah, you got your stream? Good job, queen. The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. If I had been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it too. Hold on, Keiichimabara. Oishi-san admitted it himself, didn't he? That Shion went missing a lot? Couldn't she have just gone to relatives that Oishi-san didn't know about and have been there ever since? Shion and I were both being targeted by somebody, so it wouldn't be strange to think she went somewhere she usually didn't in order to hide. That must have been why Oishi-san couldn't locate her, and why he labeled her a disappearance. Yeah, that had to be it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all. Then, my right hand moved on its own volition and slapped me on the cheek. Its cold sting let me calm down a little. Hold for 1 second. Don't just convince yourself of the most convenient possibility, Keiichimabara. I knew I didn't want to admit she had disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just needed to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? That seemed like an incredibly absurd thing to do. Still, don't run from this, Keiichi. If the person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion, then that gave me a tiny advantage. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say and fend her off. I would tear the skin off the monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storehouse that night, this was my duty to perform. Still, then, who would call me and pretend to be Shion? Who the fuck do you think, Keiichi? Holy shit. God damn, did you fucking forget that she has a fucking twin sister? Oh my god. I may have only heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't have been that easy to replicate. That was definitely Shion's voice. It sounded just like her. It could have only been Shion. There was someone though, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. Mion. Who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. Like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse, and how she shook the ladder while spouting curses. Who else could have? Why though? Why would Mion? So that way she doesn't get fucking sacrificed. I thought back to the things about the Sonozaki family that I'd heard from Oishi-san and Shion. Mion was always entangled in the incidents, in a position where she was omnipotent. Some of the information included things that Shion had told me after she disappeared. I madly scratched in my head. Courage. Give me the courage. Just a little bit of courage to pick up the phone. I know it will ring tonight. It'd be so easy to run away. That, though, would be the same thing as making it easy for them to erase me. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. I was sure Shion would use those tricky words to try and trap me. Be careful. Be careful. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. 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 At that point, it rang. The phone rang, and I didn't know where the call was coming from. Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. Disappeared the night after Watanagashi. Yet, until today, she'd been calling me like nothing happened. Now again, tonight, the people that had disappeared, oh my god, this is so fucking annoying. Their corpses simply haven't been found. I really didn't think they were alive. Just fucking pick up the phone already, holy shit. Or don't. So if it was really Shion on the other end, then did that mean she was calling me from another world? Of course, that couldn't be. A living being was calling me, pretending to be Shion. Shion was long gone, and yet, though she were alive and well, the phone continued its incessant ringing. I didn't want to pick up if I didn't have to. I had just concluded, though, that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. Then what would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion and ask who she was? Alternatively, would I pretend I was still fooled and try to grab her by the tail? That would probably be the safest thing to do. What I was most afraid of was the person on the phone what the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she wouldn't do anything extreme, right? If I just make sure to be careful, that should be the safest option. I made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing happened. That wasn't all I'd do this time, though. I'd scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking? And what was she after? It's still fucking ringing. Why was she doing this? Why was she really the one who killed Tomitake-san and Takano-san? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika-chan and Sadako? Yeah? Good job, Queen. I don't know if she's responsible for all that, dude. I mean, maybe. I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know, too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, Keiichi. Pick it up, Keiichi. Oh, fucking finally. Hello? Oh, how relieved I would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion. Ah, Kei-chan. It's me. It's Shion. My momentary, convenient, and above all fleeting prediction was ripped into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help shaking at this point. Get ready for this. You took a long time to pick up. I thought you weren't home and I was about to hang up. Sorry. I was just in the bath. Did your family not pick up for you? Could your parents be out right now, Kei-chan? I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information, that I was currently the only one at my house. Well, no, they're not really. Anyway, have you heard about Rika-chan and Sadako? No. What happened after that? Were they found? No, they weren't found. Kei-chan, please don't lose hope. If Oishi-san hadn't let me know, I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Instead, now that it had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. This person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect as Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear. Rika-chan and Sadako, they were kidnapped, weren't they? Yes, I don't think there's much doubt. Just how cruel and grave a meaning did those words hold? Their weight astonished me, and then a moment later, I was overcome with numbness and felt like I would pass out. I had asked if Rika-chan and Sadako had been kidnapped. Shion, in return, had answered that there wasn't much doubt. That cruel meaning behind her words. Rika-chan and Sadako were... no, I mean, I'm sorry. About the mayor, what do you think happened after he was kidnapped? Do you think he's still alive? What happened to Rika-chan and Sadako after they were kidnapped? That's what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question, a terrifying response, in such a way to sound like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that, so I immediately brought up the mayor. That said, however much I talked about the mayor, I think he was killed. Hey, wait. That was quick. I think it must be really hard to kidnap someone and keep them like they are. As long as they're not hostages, it would be most practical to kill them once you were done with them. The world started to bend so much I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes whirled around and around like the hands of a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frantically put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, a severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly? Kill them so readily. New music. I mean, what's a human life or two anyway? It's a horrible thing, but I think that's probably what happened. If the mayor was killed, then did that mean that the same had happened to Rika-chan and Sadako? No, that couldn't. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan. It was Sadako. They couldn't kill them so readily. It's probably better to think that Rika-chan and Sadako-chan ended up the same way. Ugh! Those were the words I wanted to hear the least, and I fought them back with a scream of my own. Even though it wouldn't change anything. Still, I couldn't help but scream. This time, the tears flowed. I had been confronted with the most horrific outcome that I'd been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Sadako. I succumbed to the weakness in my own heart and confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. That meant I killed them. When Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes, if only I hadn't given in. Even my voice gave out, and yet still, I cried. And cried. Kei-chan, please just try and calm down. Rika-chan and Sadako, they've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. This is so weird. What are you going to gain by doing that? They're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you, get a hold of yourself. Please, please. Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. This Shion killed them. I had no doubts that this person killed them. Why? Why kidnap someone and then kill them? Screw curses, are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this? You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon. I felt like we're crushing the receiver in my hand. Oh my god. Ugh. I just want to stop being sick. Oh my god. Felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment. Hey, Shion, please tell me, why did Hinamizawa start needing someone to die on the night of Watanagashi? That's what I'd like to know. The fighting over the dam project is already over and done with. Haven't enough people been cursed already? Why is it? Why? If there's a reason, then say it, now. I was incoherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. Hey, dude, go somewhere else. These were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying. What? I understand how you feel, Kei-chan. I really do. The damn wars ended a long time ago. Yet murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them had nothing to do with this, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed, so why? Why? Because there's still some like fundamentalism or like tradition that Hinamizawa wants to keep, and people who break that taboo and like go against the villagers like deserve to die, basically. That's what I'm asking you. I want to know that as much as anyone. Both our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone. Listen, Oyashiro-sama's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the grand name of Oyashiro-sama's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Watanagashi. They were cunning. They've been using the curse as a convenient tool and made a system where they could get rid of 2 enemies in the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano-san and Tomitake-san. Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor and Rika-chan and Sadako have to get killed too? I don't give a shit about the past. The only thing I care about is why Rika-chan and Sadako need to be killed. Why is that? I didn't say a word to Sadako, you know? Why, even her... Why? A silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while. Kei-chan, please, stop being mean. A sob. Was Shion crying? I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night. It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding. When I heard that Takano-san and Tomitake-san had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Then I realized it instantly. I realized what sort of a position I was in now. The 4 of us snuck in there. Kei-chan, you and I won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about it, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Kei-chan, don't you? There was nothing fake about her words. She'd even understood how I felt. That's why I confessed everything to Old Man Kimiyoshi. All of us entered the forbidden storehouse. It was just a little bit of fun. We knew we shouldn't have done it, but it really had just been for fun. It was only a bit of exploration, that was all. Thinking about if Shion did disappear, I'm wondering if Shion really did disappear, or if the thing about Kimiyoshi is being lied about so that way Keiichi would feel the need to confess to Rika. Shikano-san and Tomitake-san, who went in with us, were killed shortly after. They met such miserable ends. Since that day, I've been living in fear of when I would be attacked. There was nobody except old man Kimiyoshi who would help me. So I asked him to save me. Old man Kimiyoshi, he wasn't mad. He smiled and said, if you're really sorry, Shion-chan, then you'd never be demoned away. He really did smile at me and told me to leave it to him. Sob. Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mayor's death. It was such a sad voice that no one who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, I did let my emotions take over and go off at her. Shion was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. Thump. My heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, don't forget, Keiichi Maebara. Don't forget about the mayor on the morning after Watanagashi. He was told of Takano-san and Tomitake-san's deaths over the phone and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to a hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He had only made it back just in time for the meeting. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Oishi-san said. When did you let the mayor know? Huh? I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but Shion, you told them, right? You told old man Kimiyoshi, the mayor? Yes. When did you let him know? I'd begun to get scared of saying it out loud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted Shion to explain it to me. Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment? Kei-chan? What does that have to... Please, answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so. There was a momentary silence. Then, after stammering a few times, she replied, I knew that. He had hemorrhoids. It looked like sitting down was really hard for him. I can't help but laugh. He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right? I'm sorry, I don't know that much, but... Kei-chan, what does that have to do with... Shion didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. The train, however, had been delayed, and he only got back right before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the beans. I want to ask you straight, Shion. When did you tell the mayor about everything? When and where? Your answer doesn't have to be precise, but please give me one. Kei-chan, why are you asking that? Her sob pierced into my ears. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please, prove to me that you're the real Shion. It was impossible. The day the mayor disappeared, from dawn until he vanished, there was no opportunity for you to contact him. That's... The mayor left first thing in the morning for his examination at the university hospital all by himself without telling anyone. Shion, you just said you don't know what hospital he went to, so you couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back. Isn't that right? His train back was delayed by an accident, and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start, so there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting started either. I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to say. Shion, did you go to the meeting too? Did you attend it and tell them there? If you didn't, Then there wouldn't have been any time left. After the meeting was over, the mayor disappeared on his way home. Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give me an immediate response. Actually, with the meeting, You didn't even go to the part-time job you said you went to that day. I'll say it more directly. You haven't been seen since we were at the library together. Kei-chan, Shion Sonozaki disappeared the day after Wada Nagashi. The other end fell silent as the grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there. Oishi-san says you've been missing. Despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you? That was my attempt at, sobbing. Shion's sobs were torturing me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything wrong. Please, Shion, if something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I'm begging you. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him, if Shion ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, then that meant then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could have only been right before he disappeared, or else afterward. Oh, fuck. It's fucking Mion. I'm not going to attempt that, but... Oh! The fucking eyes. Oh, shit. Beep, beep, went the dial tone. I stood there dazed for a while until I realized she had hung up on me. Fuck. Oh my god. Ugh. I want to continue, but I have to stream on Fansly. God damn it. Okay. New tips. Scrapbook 11. The problem with twins, oof. We're getting into the good shit with Shion and Mion. This is not limited to just Hinamizawa, but in Onagafuchi village especially, the three families detested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship, built on the precarious balance of the three families, must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife from things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, then they have to be culled. With that, the very fact that Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin Shion are alive is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader, Oryo, is sympathetic? Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My own observations of the two of them don't leave me with that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one onto his or her back. In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such tattoo on her back. From what I've heard, there is apparently a magnificent demon tattooed on Oryo's back as well. Then, I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir, Mion. I really want to see her back. Oh, okay, weirdo. At the Suzu Mahjong parlor. The greatest rumors are discussed over Mahjong. Reserved for the day, Suzu Mahjong parlor. Clatter clack. Hey, Kora-chan, you're the last one here. All the youngsters are here already. Excuse me, miss. Oishi handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes in it to the old lady who owned the mahjong parlor, and she shrewdly made herself scarce. She was used to this by now. Oishi-san, good work today. What, were you all earnestly waiting for me? You could have just done 3-player. Everyone sitting at the mahjong tables in the small parlor were Oishi's subordinates, but there were no tiles laid out anywhere. Everyone, I'd like to thank you for your days of investigation without sleep. Thank you. Energetic responses filled the parlor. Already it had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment. The situation's not looking good. The chief appears to have backed down due to Congressman Sonozaki's threats. In the coming days, we'll hand off Takano's murder to the Kifu police and give the missing persons case of the disappearance of the mayor and the others to the community division. That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him. All of our requests for warrants were turned down as well. I've even been told by our section chief not to go anywhere near the Sonozaki house. We're certainly in a bind, that we are. Incidentally, it looks like I'll be getting orders soon to go to the training at the Metropolitan Police Department starting next week. After that, I've been told to take a paid vacation in Izu. Well, I suppose that ain't bad. Okay. So... He heard a few dry laughs. It wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do. This always happens, but incidents are a lot like locking your keys in the car. The keys you need to unlock the door are always locked inside. For calls, you call JAF and they'll pry open your door. For incidents? Kuma-chan, show the map. Kumatani flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises made with magnets. Now, I've been doing this job for a long time. I've got a lot of faith in my gut, but this could be the one time it was wrong, no? Anyone worried about their retirement money has until the count of 10 to get out of here. Oishi began to count to 10 and everyone counted along with him. It was their famous 10-count resolution. 9, 10. Ah, no one's leaving. None of you love your families too much, is that it? Wahaha. Everybody laughed uproariously, cheering things on. I want everyone to go over their materials. Memorize the locations and blind spots of all the security cameras. Kuma-chan, you'll stand by in the command car. If something happens, you'll switch with me and take over. Komiyama-kun will head up Infiltration Team A. They're gonna fucking... Ooh. Oh my god, I can't wait. Komiyama-kun will head up Infiltration Team A. Atsushi-kun will lead Team B. Observation teams will set up at points 1 through 8. Bonchi-kun, you're responsible for keeping a strict timetable. Control your rotations so HQ doesn't get wise. Now, the team on standby has the most important job, alright? If the section chief asks where I am, play dumb. I'll handle escorting our guests. I'll probably take him to the venue, so wait patiently, everyone. Are they gonna take Keiichi? Wonder if he'll cave. Keiichi Maibara, that is. From what I've seen, we're set for tomorrow or the day after in that regard. It'll be easy. Oh my god, I don't want to leave it like this, but... Goddamn. Maybe... Maybe tomorrow I'll have to... End of chapter 11, so I'm assuming we have 2 chapters left. Alright. Obviously, Keiichi's very important to this because he's the last remaining survivor, but... So I'm guessing they're going to try and use him as bait? Is what it seems like. We'll fucking see, I guess. So I'm about to... I'll probably eat some lunch real quick, and then I'm gonna head over to Fansly. So if you are interested, check that out. I've got my Twitter and stuff linked, so yeah.